Good day everyone. Welcome to this video lesson, and today we are going to discuss about solving quadratic equation by extracting square roots. So at the end of this video, the viewers or the learners are expected to solve quadratic equation by extracting square roots. Okay, so in a quadratic equation be solved by extracting square root. Kailan ba natin malalaman na yung given equation, quadratic equation, ay po pwedeng may solve by extracting square root? Okay, first, the quadratic equation must be written in this form: ax squared plus and minus c equals 0. Example for that is 2x squared minus 18 equals 0. So in other words, if the given quadratic equation is incomplete quadratic equation and the missing term is the linear term. Second, a quadratic equation can be solved by extracting a square root if the given equation is written in the form of a times the square of x minus k plus or minus c equals 0. An example for that is 3 times the square of x plus 4 minus 12 equals 0. So you look at the pattern on when extracting square root be used in solving quadratic equation. Then the third one is if the given quadratic equation is written in this pattern: square of ax plus and minus k plus and minus c equals 0. Example for that is the square of 2x minus 5 then minus 25 equals 0. So let us have an example on how to solve quadratic equation by extracting square root. This one, solve by extracting square root. 2x squared minus 18 equals 0. So to solve this one, first we have to transpose the constant to the right side of the equation. So if we transpose, we change the sign of the number, so from negative to positive. The mathematical concept for that is addition property of equality. Then we divide both sides by 2. What is the purpose of dividing it by 2? To make the coefficient of x squared be equal to 1. So 2x squared divided by 2 is x squared or 1x squared. But if it is 1, we no longer write 1 beside x squared. It is understood that the coefficient is 1. Then 18 divided by 2 is 9. Okay? Then we take the square root of both sides of the equation. So your x now is equal to positive negative 3. The square root of 9 is positive negative 3. So therefore, the solution set is negative 3 and positive 3. Okay? So this is the solution set. Now, to verify if this is really the correct answer, then we let us substitute this obtained value to the original equation. So let us start with negative x. So if the equation is satisfied with negative 3, then negative 3 is the correct answer. What do you mean by satisfied? Meaning we were able to balance the equation. So this 2x squared minus 18, maging 0 yan, kasi 0 yung nasa right side. So ibig sabihin, sagot ito. Tama itong negative 3. So you have 2 times negative 3 instead of x. We replace that by negative 3 squared minus 18 equals 0. So you have now the square of negative 3 is negative 9 times 2 is positive 18 minus 18 is 0. So we're able to balance the equation. So therefore, negative 3 is one of the correct answer. So how about if x is positive 3? So we'll do the same thing. We substitute it to the equation and let us verify if the equation will satisfy. So the square of 3 is 9 times 2 is 18 minus 18 is equal to 0. So therefore, we're able to balance again the equation. So, positive 3 and negative 3 are the correct answer. Okay? So that is how we solve quadratic equation. Let us have another example. Solve by extracting square roots. 3 times the square of x plus 4. Then minus 12 equals 0. So, what will you do? We are going to transpose the constant negative 12 to the right side. So, it will become positive 12. Then, let us divide 3. Because that is beside the square of x plus 4. So this will be cancelled, and you have now x plus 4. Quantity squared is equal to 12 divided by 3 is 1. You have 4. And let us get the square roots of both sides of the equation. The square root of the square of x plus 4 is x plus 4 equals the square root of 4 is positive and negative 2. Then after that, let us transpose 4 to the right side. So you have now negative 4 plus and minus 2. So in this case, we are going to separate the plus and minus here. So magkakaroon tayo ng dalawang equation. So the first one, x equals negative 4 plus 2. And the other one is x equals negative 4 minus 2. Then let us simplify to find the value of x. So x now is equal to negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. So that's one value of x. The other side, x equals negative 4 minus 2, that's negative 6. So the second value of x is negative 6. So therefore, the solution set of the given quadratic equation is negative 6, negative 2. Okay? To verify if that is the correct answer, so same with the first example, let us substitute negative 6 to x in the equation. So if x is negative 6, so negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2. Square that, so positive 4 times 3, 12 minus 12, 0. So the equation is satisfied. How about if your x is negative 2? So if x is negative 2, negative 2 plus 4, plus mo dyan, so positive 2. Square mo, 4 times 3 is 12. Minus 12 equals to 0. And the equation is satisfied again. So, therefore, negative 6 and negative 2 is the solution set. Okay? Okay. Okay, let us have another example. Solve by extracting square roots. The square of 2x minus 5 minus 25 equals 0. To solve that, we have to transpose the constant negative 25 to the right side, so it will become now positive 25. Since the coefficient of the square of 2x minus 5 is 1, so we can immediately take the square root of both sides of the equation. The square root of the square of 2x minus 5 is 2x minus 5, and the square root of 25 is plus and minus 5. Okay? So, after that, let us isolate the term with x. So, we transpose this negative 5 to the right side. So, you have now 2x equals positive. It will become positive. If we transpose this sign, it will become positive. Okay? So, then you have now plus and minus 5. Then after that, we divide both sides by 2. So you have x equals 5 plus minus 5 over 2. Then, we'll separate these two operation, the plus and minus sign. Okay, so we will have two equations. So the first one is 5 plus 5 over 2. And the second equation is 5 minus 5 over 2. So to get the value of x, we'll simplify this one. 5 plus 5, 10, divided by 2 is 5. So this one value of x. Then the other side, 5, this one, 5 minus 5 is 0, divided by 2 is 0. So remember that any number divided by any non-zero number is equal to 0. So therefore, the solution set of the given quadratic equation is 0 and positive 5. To verify if that is correct, replace this x by 0. 0 times 2 is 0 minus 5. Negative 5 squared is positive 25 minus 25 is 0. So the equation is satisfied. How about if x is 5? 5 times 2, 10 minus 5, positive 5. Square ng positive 5, 25, then bawasan ng 25, 0. So therefore, the equation is satisfied. So 0 and 5 are the solution set of the given quadratic equation. Okay? So let us have another example. Let us have another example solved by extracting square roots. We have now 2x squared minus 16 equals 0. So this is almost the same with the first example if you can still recall. So to solve this one, we are going to transpose the constant to the right side. So the constant is negative 16, so it will become positive 16. Then let us divide both sides by 2. So 2x squared divided by 2 is x squared. Then 16 divided by 2 is 8. Then you take the square root, both sides of the equation. The square root of x squared is x. But remember, in this given, square root of 8, 8 is not a perfect square. So meaning there is no integers wherein if you multiply it by itself, the result is positive 8. Okay? So if that is the case, all we have to do is to simplify the radicals. How to simplify that? You are going to think two numbers or factors of 8 wherein one factor is a perfect square and the other one is not a perfect square. So halimbawa yan, ano ba ang factors ng 8 na is a perfect square? 4 times 2. That 4 times 2 is 8. 4 now is a perfect square. And 2 is not a perfect square. So you extract the roots of 4. So you have now x equals positive, negative 2 square root of 2. So pag nilabas natin itong 8 na ito, itong 8 na ito, ay 8, I'm sorry, 4, ang square root niya ay 2. And negative 2. So since this 2 is not a perfect square, it will remain under the radical sign. So therefore, the solution set of the given quadratic equation is negative 2 square root of 2 and positive 2 square root of 2. Okay? So that is now the final answer, the solution set. Okay. So that is how we solve quadratic equation by extracting square root. Okay? So I hope you learned something on how to solve quadratic equation by extracting square root. So until next time. Okay, thank you.